Hello everyone, hope you are all well. Hello Frederick, good to see you all here. So delay on the YouTube side, mute that. Okay, so I am going to copy the link. If anyone wants to come up, they are more than welcome. Let's post it in the YouTube side of things. Paste and enter. And I'm going to pin that, so if anybody wants to pop up, they can just click on the link. Hopefully the stream. Hey 00, good to see you. Can everyone let me know if the audio and the video is okay? That would be superb. Yeah, it's been a long time coming, 200 videos. I thought I would have hit that much sooner than I have. Hey Blue Thunder, I don't recognize your name. Yeah, I'm well. Thank you for asking. Yeah. Yeah, I thought I would have hit 200 sooner than this, but I did start the channel. Thank you, Frederick. Back in 2017, possibly actually earlier than that, because I did delete some videos which I put up originally, and because they were so terribly awful in quality, I just deleted them, got rid of them. Thank you, 00. Hey, Ken. Thank you very much. Hey, Minnie. Welcome. Yeah, if anybody would like to jump up and chat, you are more than welcome. The link is in the description. You got P. Cool. Okay, thank you for coming over. It's very kind of you. I am hoping to get some work done on TC soon, because I'm due at the NEC at the end of next month. So yeah, I've got to get a few things done before I can actually really go up there. I need to make sure everything on the car is secure and nothing's going to break. So yeah, fingers crossed. Plus, like the other things on the channel as well. I will be taking the folding bike in the back of TC. At the moment, I'm currently trying to save up some money, so I've got, stuff for food and such. If you go to the NEC or an event like that, the food at these places costs a fortune. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my own supplies. I'm going to make my own food, like sandwiches, that kind of thing. Buy bottles of drink. Okay, Ken, no problem. So yeah, hopefully I can get cups of tea relatively easy. Don't know how much tea costs at places like the NEC. Is probably expensive, but hey, they're there to make money at the end of the day. But yeah, there are a few things I want to do. I need to get the engine bolted into Pinky. I was hoping to do it like a bit sooner. Yeah, definitely, Minnie. It's much cheaper. Hey, Shopcat, thank you. Well, 2,000 videos, that's a long way off. Hey, Mike, thank you. I don't know if this video will be counted as number 200. I don't know. I don't know if they look at it. Hey, Skig, thanks a lot. It's very kind. What the fuck? Yeah. I don't know if live videos and standard videos count. I haven't Blue Thunder, no. I do believe he's got a video coming soon. He did send out like a trailer to do driving through Italy, so I think that's coming soon, and it may have some stuff in there about Papa. Saying about Papa, now don't quote me, but I have a feeling that Papa will be at the NEC. We are having 2 estate cars. One's mine and one saloon car, and it's very possible it's Pete's car, Papa. So I can't guarantee it though. So if it's not there, don't blame me. Okay. What's that? What's this one? Minnie's comment. Yeah. Sorry, Minnie, I'm just looking at your content, asking if it's on YouTube in over 10 minutes. Hey, Gary, thanks for dropping in. Good to see you. If anybody wants to drop in, I know people are jumping in, but if you want to jump up on the chat, you're more than welcome. I'm kind of thinking that a few other new channels I've found. He's already been, Minnie. He's done all the filming and everything. Yeah, it is quite warm. I've had the heating on. So yeah, mind you, I've got my hat on. I've always got my hat on, you know. It's just my thing. I've always got a hat on. Whether it's this one or the purple one. Yeah, just keeps my head warm. Evening, Mark. Good to see you. Thank you for coming. I recently bought myself an angle grinder. It's a cordless one from Lidl. And I was cutting up a piece of metal because I was planning on blanking off the GR valve on the Rover. Now, I didn't think about it properly, and I didn't exactly know what I was exactly doing, and I was making a plate for the wrong part. So, where is that plate? It's here somewhere. Where is it? One moment. There it is. Now, you were supposed to make a round disc for the Rover, and then the other end is straight through from the intercooler pipe straight into the inlet manifold. So I made that, thinking that, you know, if I block off the inlet to the manifold, so I did it wrong. So good thing I didn't drill holes in it and bolt it on. Yeah, I've got a spare battery, Mini. Actually, no, I haven't. I've got a bigger battery. It's a 20 volt and it's extra thick, so it's twice the size of a standard one, and it's a 4 Ah, 4 amp hour. Yeah, I bought a murder wheel. That's a good word, actually. I like that. Yeah, I found Lidl and LD Electronics. Actually, they've got much better since they first started. I've got a bench grinder from when Lidl first started, and it's awful. You got a wire wheel on one side and a polishing wheel on the other. And if you put any kind of pressure on it, the thing slows down. It's awful. But their modern stuff is much better. Skick, no, I can't. There's no strings, and it's yeah, there's no bits on it at all. It's purely. I tried to learn on it, and a lot of the components had rusted, and I wanted to get them all replaced and clean them all up and everything. And I went into a specialist place, and they said it'll cost me more to fix it than to buy another guitar. So I've got an acoustic in the bedroom, and I struggle playing that because, believe it or not, I've got arthritis in my wrists, and I've had that since I was 15. So it's very, very difficult for me to play. I have tried in the past, and it just really hurts in my wrists and in my fingers. But when I was younger, I used to be in a band at school, and I played the drums. My older brother taught me how to play the drums. So I volunteered to do this at school. This was back in the early 90s, late 80s, early 90s. And one day I was there, I was playing. Hey, Chris, thanks for joining. Feel free to click the link if you want to jump in. I feel a bit lonely up here, but no pressure. But yeah, I was at school one day, and we were doing music, and I got up on the drums, and a few people were doing other things. I can't remember what they were doing. And I'm playing away, and all of a sudden I noticed this severe pain in my right ankle, and that's for the bass pedal, and my wrists. I actually know it was more the bass pedal than anything else. It was very, very painful, and it was only after a few minutes of playing. So I stopped and let somebody else play for a while, and then the teacher said to me, "Look, how are you feeling? Do you want to try again?" So I did, and within seconds the pain just came back. And then not long after that, I was doing some work experience. Yes, I've been being into mechanics ever since I was a teenager, breaking down bicycles and stuff like that. And I wanted to do work experience in a garage. And there was a car garage nearby where they did body work on cars and trucks and stuff. I remember doing Toyota Hilux from like the late 80s, early 90s, chunky versions. And my friends always found it a bit weird that I wanted to do that. But, you know, I wanted to do it. And, you know, I was in a pit underneath a Lada Reaver, big, heavy thing. I remember it was blue and very rusty. And I'm underneath this thing, and the guy said to me when we cut away the sill. So I'm cutting this thing, and this wrist, which I'm using to hold the power, just locked up, and it was absolute agony. Just standing, just spikes of pain into my wrists, and I just turned the power off and just screamed for one of these guys to get me out. So basically, not long after that, I woke up in the morning with my ankles in agony, my wrists in agony, and my mum had to ring an ambulance. I got taken to hospital, and they basically diagnosed me with inflammatory arthritis at 15 years old. So, yeah, that put the kibosh on a lot of things I wanted to do. Skick, is that to me or to somebody else? Yeah, I do like the old Hilux double. I might be able to find a picture of one of them, actually. See if I can find one. So I do, if I could get a Toyota Hilux, that would be pretty cool. There's a lot you can do with this Hilux. Toyota Hilux. It was like the one off Top Gear. It was the same style as the one on Top Gear when they tried to destroy it. I'm sure, yeah, I'm pretty sure that was the same design. Very utilitarian, very rugged. That's the style, that one. According to this, it's the 4th generation. Yeah, it was that kind of style there. That's the one. Minnie, every winter, my joints always give me grief. So I've been taking like painkillers and anti-inflammatory stuff, cod liver oil, ever since I was a teenager. So it's just one of those things I put up with. But yeah, Skick, if that's to me, oh no, Chris, if I could have kept going, I would have done. No, what was I saying? Oh yeah, if that's to me, Skick, the NEC at Birmingham is the first event I'm going to, and then once I get back, I need to get my hands on a decent welder, get my car to VW Coco's yard, and start doing some cutting of metal and welding. I don't have time at the moment to get any work done on the car. Yeah, they are double, definitely. I've never driven one though. I would like to. The closest thing I drove to a Hilux was a Nissan Cabstar, and they're actually quite fun as well. Because when you've got no loading, the back end's really high off the ground. And my brother used to drive one. It was like a really old one, and it was green, and they called it the Meanie. Green Meanie. And I remember once he was sat in the driver's seat, he's driving this thing, it's shaking about all over the place. And he just took me to work with him. And he's lifted up the floor mat, and you could see the road. It was that rotten. Terrible. But yeah, hilarious fun back in the day. Oh, nice one, Chris. Have you managed to sort out the hotel? And can you or can you not confirm if Pete's going to be there? Ah, Frederick.
All the way. Okay, I can't believe.
There you. Hey, Frederick.
Hello.
Hi. If you.
Oh, jeez. I've got YouTube on too, and I'm getting like an echo.
Yeah, you need to mute the other window.
Let me see if I can do this. Hold on.
Okay. If you go to the page and just turn all the volume down.
All right, here we go.
You'll be fine.
I closed it out. So I was going to say, so what?
Hello. You're locked up a bit. Can't hear you.
Maybe. Oh, jeez. Oh. I see.
Oh yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Here we are. Yes.
That's working.
See, I'm not as tech savvy as you are, Simone. Can you hear me?
Well, to be honest with you, yeah, I can hear you perfectly. I'm
all right. So I'm going to ask what someone else asked. What are your plans for TC?
Oh, the plans for TC. Okay. Right. Apart from welding the rear end, I've got a anti-rattle shim that needs to go into the gearbox. I need to change the worm gear inside the gearbox because the speedo dry on the display on the dashboard reads wrong. It reads incorrect.
Slow or fast?
Fast.
Okay.
So it's over speeding. So
right, it's reading faster than your actual speed.
Yes, which is why I have to use a sat nav.
Yes.
At the moment to tell me how fast I'm going. So really, it's reading about 2,000, actually about 1,000 miles more than it should be.
Oh, interesting. I never thought of that. Yes.
Yeah. But yeah, I need to get myself another sun visor because the one I put in, Pete's got another sun visor. I need to. Oh yes, I've got materials coming from a friend called Andy, so I'm going to have to replace all the inner paneling at the back from him. So it's got carpet in there as well, so it'll help with the noise.
Right.
What else do I need to do? I think I need to replace the cable from the battery to the starter motor because I took one of them off.
Wow.
And it's not long enough, and it's starting to corrode inside the end of the cable. It's going green. And
that's not good.
No, this is the original Fomoco cable.
Oh my God.
From 1972. And it's so
holy
brittle.
Cow.
It's so brittle. It's
really being 50 now going on 51 years. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We're all getting to all getting to be that. Yes. Oh,
I'm getting that.
I was going to say that I remember when Pete first got TC all those years ago, and I started watching him. I think it was Hubnut. He did the review on Ruby.
No, Ruby. That's it. Yeah.
Ruby, and I've seen some of the other videos, but it was Ruby that got me interested in PC. And I know that he had TC at the time. I didn't know what happened to it. It had moved on, and
Mm.
I started following you. But I also follow identical channels as well, like Lloyd Vehicle Consulting. You met up with Alec from Alex's
Yeah,
Assets.
Alex is lovely. She really is.
She's well. I think you're all delightful,
Oh,
really.
she's really funny. She really
Oh,
makes me laugh.
she seems to be, and well, I think you all are. And I wouldn't be contributing what little I have if I didn't have enough, if I didn't feel it, and I know it's definitely going towards a good cause. So that's why I support you.
Yeah, thank you. That's very
Oh,
kind.
you're most welcome. I think what little I do have, I wish I could give more
Yeah,
if
yeah,
that were the case, but I'm really happy that I can help out.
yeah,
And
yeah.
that can you continue doing what with Pinky and with TC and with Connie. Oh, and that's
Mm,
another thing I was going to ask you. You said that to get a new key fob costs, what is it, close to 60 pounds?
it's £58 to get the key cut. That's literally it, just to get it cut. And
Right.
my thinking is that that's all they need to do is open it, change over the insides, which is easy, and then cut the key. I don't understand how it can cost them £58 to do that. That's just ridiculous.
I don't, well, maybe it's because
Same mistake.
you have the what is it, the immobilizer chip in there,
Yeah, I can get that out with a pin. Just pop it
right?
out and put it in the new one. I've got two spare fobs in my kitchen. But they said to me they can cut mine, but it won't be warranted. It's like, well, it's exactly the same as what they've got on the shelf.
Huh. And that's
It's
unusual.
yeah,
But I know that I've had keys like that made here in the, in for our vehicles, which were GM at the time, that cost, well, $30, $40.
wow.
And I'm going back, I'm going back over, oh, well, I think one was over 10 years ago. Some of the other vehicles was well over 20 years ago. So yes, they're not cheap. You have to have that chip in there because the chip is communicating to all the
Yes.
electronics, or it just won't start. So that's what I
The
was thinking.
the problem which I have now is I can
Hmm.
change all the guts inside the key and I can have the key cut. The only thing is the guy put the fob next to a sensor in the store where I went to, and he pressed the button after putting a fresh battery in, even though mine was brand new, and
Right.
it's the board is not sending out a signal.
So obviously there's something wrong with the board inside the key
Yeah,
fob
yeah.
itself.
But it's the thing is it's micro soldering.
Yes.
So I can't do that. I'm not that skilled.
Right.
So to have a board, a PCB board made, that's
Right.
£140. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
crazy.
That
Yeah,
is insane.
yeah. So at the moment, the only thing I can do is, yeah, I've got blanks mini. Um, Swap it over, get a fresh key cut, and then save up and wait until I've got that money. Um, at the moment, I need to focus on getting TC to the NEC.
Oh,
That's
absolutely.
yeah.
Right.
There's no doubt about that. Um, but when I get back from the NEC, start working on the welding. Um, as you and everyone else has seen, I've got the panels that I need to weld
Right.
into the car. Um, and then after that, I can then focus on one of the bikes. Um,
Yes.
yeah, this year is quite important. So, in two ways, really. One is getting TC to the NEC and get a bit of publicity. I know there's going to be lots of
Right.
YouTubers
Hmm.
out there. They're going to
Yeah.
see the car, they're going to film it, and I think logic dictates that more traffic will come my way. Secondly, it's 10 years since my best friend passed away in March,
Right.
and he owned Buddy, the little Yamaha.
Right.
So I need to get on with doing something with Buddy.
And
So
obviously,
yeah,
you ride motorcycles as well, do you not?
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I
I,
haven't
I haven't
ridden
I haven't
properly in 10 years.
I haven't rid the first I'll never forget the first time I rode on the back of a motorcycle. I think it was like a dirt my motorcycle, and I'm going, oh, now
Hey, dirt
starting
rider.
to think about it, was about 50 years ago. But recently, I would say maybe the last 3 or 4 years, I've ridden on a Harley Davidson, and I don't like them. I don't like
Oh,
riding on the back of a motorcycle because I think it's about my anxiety. But
yeah, yeah.
not only that, I just as soon as I got off the motorcycle, my the only way to describe it is my legs felt like rubber bands. Now, a friend I got, I rode on a BMW
Yes,
motorbike,
more
and
upright.
the difference between that and a Harley is night and day.
Oh yeah, yeah. I on my bike because
Right.
my Kawasaki. Um, the first time I rode it, it was very unusual, as in the way the handlebars were laid out because they go like that. So I'm leaning
Okay.
over the
Right.
fuel tank,
Yes.
and
Right. Yes.
you
Yes.
you, you can feel it in your lower back that it's curving. My previous
Uh,
bike was more upright, and
right.
That was a Suzuki 500. Um, Now I've been on the back of a Yamaha FJ 1200. That's the same. You lean forward with the rider, so you're holding
Right.
on. And
Yes.
then I got a lift on an XJ 1300. Now that's a completely different animal. You are bolt upright. The rider is bolt upright, and I was
Right.
sat on this thing with my arms behind my back, holding onto the handle at the back of the bike.
Yes.
And he booted it. He was gone, and the muscles in my neck. Oh my God, I've never felt anything like it. It trying to hold my head up was a job in itself, let alone my arms behind my back.
Oh.
And it was the most uncomfortable ride I've ever been on, ever.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I would rather be on a bike where I'm leaning forward and I've got a little bit more control and I can lean into it, rather than being pushed back. Um, yeah, question from Minnie actually. Um, Minnie, the little two-stroke Buddy. Um, I neglected the bike last year. I have a coil pack to go on the bike. I've got a new plate that came in the post like well over a year ago, because the one that's on there, somebody got a hacksaw and cut it for reasons that are beyond me. I have no idea why. So the plan is to clean the thing up, give it a nice lick of paint, silver paint, put it on with some brand new nice stainless steel bolts, and get a brand new spark plug. The lead and everything and the coil itself is fine. Um, but I need to get at least that on, and then I need to work on the wiring loom and then make sure everything goes where it needs to. Um, I think I do need to make some alterations to it because it does look like it's been butchered over the years.
Right.
And wiring is not my strongest point. It's not my strongest subject. And yes, it's a very small bike, but at the same time, it just goes out of my head. And I look at what people like Pete and Cortina Man 63, what they can do with wiring is, it just baffles me.
And Pete is so thorough.
Yeah,
As another thing that I like about Pete C is that he's in. I don't mind that his videos are long. You know, I'm a car enthusiast.
Yeah,
Um, I don't like working on vehicles, but I like his how he goes into great and thorough detail, and that's why I follow and subscribe to his channel, and I'm glad
yeah,
that I do. Um, Now you said You said Buddy is a two cycle.
yeah. It's a two-stroke. It's a
It's
little Yamaha
oh okay,
RS. Yeah, little Yamaha RS 125, and it's a DX model. And the reason they call it a DX, the only reason, front disc brake, front
oh,
rotor. That's the only difference. Um, and they are extremely, extremely rare. And
mm,
I didn't know this until after Keith had died. Um, so the plan on trying to find parts for it is quite difficult. One of my videos that I did got very little views, unfortunately, because I did a lot of filming of the bikes before I got the Cortina, and then everything kind of built from there.
right,
Um, but I had to order some parts from the south of France, and it was one of a rear wheel from the south of no, was it a front wheel? I can't remember. It doesn't matter. It was a wheel,
right,
um, and it had some other parts in there that I needed, the clock bracket and a few other things. I think it was, but I had the bike in storage, and I dismantled it. Oh God, what about 2008, I think. And I
right,
was working at this point, and the plan was to strip it down, paint it, and do things to it. But because I changed jobs and I had different things, and I never really got around to doing it, and my garage at the time where I lived was broken into a number of times, and I didn't know what had gone missing, if anything had gone missing.
right.
So when I moved house and I started packing everything up to move, I then realized what had been stolen, and it was parts of the RS 125.
Because someone
Yeah,
knew that they were valuable. Because
I
you
don't
just
know.
said right. Mm,
I have no idea, but half an engine casing had gone missing,
mm,
all sorts of random parts, which I had no idea of. And then trying to find these parts on eBay, it's a very, very kind of fine line, because when you type in RS 125, you get Aprilia.
right.
You don't,
Hmm.
and even if you type in Yamaha, it's half Aprilia. Um, so
Oh,
yeah, it can be a pain trying to find parts for this thing, this little bike. But yeah, Mini, that's the plan. That's what I would. I don't know if Pete would do it. Wouldn't you need the bike to kind of like measure everything up against it? Also, with the wiring going up to the headstock and then into the for the Kawasaki, it all goes into behind the headlight, and
right.
I can't remember the route of where the wires go, even though I did a video on dismantling it. Looking at that and then trying to recreate it, it can get a little confusing. Sounds silly, I know, but
No, I think maybe you have to rewatch it several times,
yeah,
if not
yeah.
more. And
Minnie, I think I know the website you mean. CMS SNL. I'm pretty sure it's called that. The reason I remember it is because there's a shop here called CMS, and it means Cornish motorcycles. And then SNL is for Norway, I think. Um, I think that's correct. Anyway, sorry, Frederick.
no, that's fine. Um, no, because anything you put up, I watch, even if
Ah,
it's the see our my father's. It'll be 50 years this September that he started the business when we moved up, not too far from where I reside currently,
mm,
and he started selling and repairing small engines, lawn mowers, lawn and garden tractors, chainsaws, that kind of thing. So and I would help him. We all of us children helped my dad
that's good.
until about 30 years ago. My brother took over the business and sort of pushed my father out. But
Mm,
so when you're working on small engines, yes, I'm not mechanically savvy, but it's something I'm familiar with and that I grew up. So that's my interest lies in that as well. So
Yeah, yeah. And that's good to hear.
yes,
Yeah, yeah. Um, yeah, there's plenty of stuff to do this year. Plenty of stuff to do. Um, so yeah, I'm
I'm
looking
looking
forward to it.
forward to it.
Well,
I'm
yeah,
looking
so
forward to
am I.
watching and seeing your end result.
Yeah, thank you.
That's
Um,
you're welcome.
yeah, I am looking forward to what I can do, and that I really am looking forward to the NEC. I am quite scared as well because yes, TC made it to Wales last year for the Cortina Day, which
Right.
astonished me. It really did. I didn't expect the car to get there, but because I've got a few problems still with the bodywork, I need to rectify that because it's causing problems with bringing fumes back into the car, and I'm struggling to drive the car and have fresh air, but also suffering from fumes getting back in because there are holes at the back, and I'm trying to think to myself the best way to maybe, if anyone's got any ideas, I was going to say if I can place a piece of steel over some of the holes and pop rivet them for now, and then put some sealant in there before I get the welder, just to tone the fumes down a little. Um, it's a bit difficult to fix, really. I'm not sure. Cortina Day was good fun. Messing around in the back of TC and then going for a drive and then watching you two drunk, Chris.
It
We
was
went to
nice.
Yeah, it was
I
quite
watched
funny.
some of
It
it.
was good.
It was yeah, it was excellent. What you
Yeah, it
filmed
was
was
really
great
good.
too. Good.
Thank
I'm
you.
glad you had a good day.
Yeah,
And that's what it's really all about. Like, life's so short that we have to
yeah,
make the most of it. So
yeah. I think Pete was very surprised when I pulled out from the site to drive into the town and the acceleration. I mean, it's not it's not perfect, um,
no.
but it pulls well now. It's got that 1600 rear axle, So yeah, that's really helped. Um, Minty, I can't put seals in there, not that type of seals. Arr, arr. I mean, cruelty. Um, but yeah, I need to. Oh yeah, the rear boot, the wheel well at the back. That's that. When Pete found the car, they lifted it with a forklift at the back, so it pushed in the
Right.
wheel well.
Right.
Yeah, and pushed it in. So me trying to bash it back down again, oh, it makes a racket. It really does. And I can't remove the lid where it goes down to cover the wheel because it only goes up a certain height and it's spot welded down. So yeah, I can't remove that to get a good enough swing. Um, no more nails or mastic plates. Mastic plate.
And the
Not like
estates
that.
are very rare in the UK, are they not?
They are, yes, yes. There's a if you look on Cortina Man 63's YouTube channel, he did a video
Mhm.
of all the numbers, and it's got a huge amount of views. It's a very, very successful video for him. Um, he still has under 1,000 subscribers as well. He should have over 1,000 with the knowledge he has and the work he's done on his cars. Um, yeah, he should really have over 1,000 subs. And it's a shame he doesn't. Um, but his car, I mean, he's done so much work on that thing, but it's got so many layers of paint as well. It's an express car from 1975, I
Oh,
believe.
oh wow.
So it's quite a rare vehicle. Um, I just hope he gets to put it back together.
The thing I
In
like about the UK is that your MOT is so thorough.
very,
Um, the, it, well, I'm going back some years ago that I know because here in the United States, it's state by state. There's no federal regulation. So whatever different states have different regulations. the UK being what it is, it's all more it's more uniform than what I experienced, but it's so thorough. Um, so when I see American vehicles over in the UK, that I know that they're being well looked after
Oh yeah, yeah,
because I live in upstate New York and we rust. I mean, I see cars that are 10 times worse than some of the vehicles driving around in the UK. That would fail, and
yeah.
that's what
I've
kills me.
seen I've seen a few pictures recently where this truck had the fuel tank where you've got the tie hooks on the side of the truck,
Yes.
and the guy had tied rope around the tie hooks and then rope around the fuel filler, and it's like everything around it had rusted away. It was crazy.
That's insane.
Yeah, and it amazes me how some vehicles are allowed to be driven in the states, in certain states. I mean, not
Well,
all,
especially in the
but
Northeast. I mean, in New England. Although
mm,
I think there certain other states, I think are more strict than New York. But I had just had a friend who he had to have, I guess, some work done. It's failed inspection, and he had to have
oh,
some welding done to his vehicle. It's a
yeah,
2001, I think, um, Chevrolet Suburban. See, and
okay.
you're not. I was going to say it's so strange to
Um,
see American vehicles over the UK, and I know that the roads are so narrow. So,
um, some of them are. It is quite deceiving. I mean, we do have very narrow country lanes, and I think
right,
A standard US car would struggle. But a lot of cars I see in the States now, they're just like Hyundais or Toyotas, and they're just the same size over here now.
right.
There is a question there from Blue Thunder. I think that's for you. How many cars do you see in your country that are from the UK?
Um, that's they're very rare.
Um,
I was going to say because of the channels I've watched that there was someone in that brown Triumph Stag. I haven't seen in a few years. Um, that's what got me, whenever I
ah,
would see it, and the garage is maybe about a mile away because I'm always
mm,
walking in through town. I saw it at the garage, and it just enthralled me. So I had to take
wow.
pictures, and
Uh,
it's originally from that particular Triumph Stag that I have as my thumbnail for me.
yeah, I like that.
Um, Thank you. I spotted it and took several pictures. I think it is.
Ah,
I think it is a four-speed manual with overdrive. Although I did thought I saw one that was an automatic also, but see the reason why it was at the garage, I think it says the license plate says, "Oh, Lord Lucas," and that's self-explanatory
that's
because
interesting.
he's
That's interesting.
yes, a
Yeah.
New York vanity plate that says Lord Lucas. And so
Ah,
I took pictures of that, but it was, I would say about a year or so ago, I'm walking up the street and I see a blue stag drive
wow.
by. And and I know
They,
that they're so extremely rare.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
Another car that I saw at a local car show several summers ago was um, a Nissan, not a POW, the other one that's a big cold car. I can see it. I can see it in the back of my mind. Of
It'll come
course, I
to you.
can't think of it.
It'll
I
come
can't
to
think
you.
of it, but I've only saw it once, and because of it's got a soft top. It has a retractable soft top like a Fiat
Oh,
500.
okay.
Wow,
Um,
you know, and
I
they come.
think I know. I think I know the car you mean. I just can't think of the name of it. If anybody
I
can
can't
think of
think
it
of it
in the
either. I
comments,
don't know
please feel free to comment.
if someone can. Um, and it's because of I think it was featured on Hub Night and so many other channels that I was like, oh, because everyone was going towards the American muscle cars. No, I sort of
Yeah.
gravitate to
Um, Skik, there is a link in the description of the video, and you should be able to change the amount if you want to donate to the video itself.
Oh, yes, definitely.
Yeah, you're more than welcome if you want to help out. I'm not asking, but it's just entirely up to you guys. Everything that does come into the channel goes on the cars. It doesn't go to me.
Right, because you've mentioned that to me. Whatever I send you via either PayPal or through Super Chat, goes.
I mean,
Like
so
you said.
I weirdly enough, I was talking about a cat flap for little one, and I got a donation to go and buy a cat flap, which I did, but I still haven't fitted it yet because it's so cold at the moment.
Oh, and she's so cute, Georgia.
Yeah, she is.
I love animals, period. But cats are I sort of favor a little bit more. So, but see, all these other Nissans are oh, Figaro. Just popped into my head. A Figaro, a Nissan Figaro, and everyone's going around to all these other muscle cars, and I just like because I just saw it, in Seabrook. I just featured it on his channel, and I've seen it elsewhere, and so I said, and I haven't seen one since. And last summer, I met someone who had a Volvo 240 saloon. That was he bought it off someone who's out in the West Coast in California. I can't think of his name now.
Okay.
And the exhaust went on it on his drive into this car show, which is, like I said, is within walking distance. So but there were some like one. I remember. I think it was 2 summers ago. Someone. Well, the big cars are the Triumph TR6. I always see Austin Healey. Oh, there's someone who down the road from me. He loves this British Leyland. He has an MGB, sort of modified. It's it's the big plastic bumper, but it doesn't have those bumpers on it. He has a Nash Metropolitan with the Austin.
Oh yeah.
Ian explained to me. I thought it was an A series, but it's a B series, Austin B series engine in it, and that I'll see around from time to time. Another one he has. I think he has a Sprite as well, little bug-eyed Sprite.
Oh yes, I remember the Sprites. Yes.
And he just got a Carmen Ghia. That's another one of his recent acquisitions. He likes foreign cars, and I'll drive them around town. So, but because of these, I see these like an Austin Healey 3000 sometimes pop up at our yearly summer car show, and I sort of gravitate towards them because they are rare, but because of channels like yourself and others in the UK that's what I love almost everything from the UK. So
that's pretty cool to hear.
Yeah.
Now going back and saying about the Stag, they were released in the States because that was where it was initially aimed at. And then they found that because the way the cooling system had been designed, along with the way the engine is designed, that there wasn't enough cooling.
Yes.
And so what people did, especially over here, they would modify their cars so the cooling was more efficient. Because the Stag is a beautiful car. Hands down, it's a beautiful car. But they just didn't look at these issues thoroughly enough. And I'm kind of glad that nowadays, with the internet and YouTube, and the fact that whatever classic you have, be it British, American, Japanese, Italian, anything, there are ways around these little issues, and it's just through these people finding new ways of doing something and then benefiting others by sharing it. And I think that's a fantastic thing, and a good part of engineering, um, uh, like personal kind of engineering.
Right.
I mean, I'm not an engineer. I don't profess to be an engineer. The closest thing is to me is that I learned how to weld, and I learned how to fabricate bits of metal, and oh, just dropped it. um, I'm really proud of the fact that I can fabricate bits of metal. I mean,
And you should be, because
yeah,
aren't that many women. I mean, besides yourself, there's only Alex out there, and Alex gets down there and she's welding and she's getting dirty
yeah,
and she's
yeah.
doing maintenance and
I really
that.
enjoyed the videos
Right.
she did on the Land Rover.
I watched that too. It was very
That's
interesting.
really good seeing her getting under there, and yeah, it was very interesting to watch. Very interesting. So
No,
yeah,
I
I'm
think
very.
everything she does is interesting. It doesn't matter whether it's a drive through London,
Mm,
and I'm um I'm watching the video, and I'm saying to myself, I'm comparing London to New York City. And mind you, I have driven in, it's been 30 some odd years since I've driven in the city. But it just London so reminds me of New York in the sense, or some of the outer boroughs like Queens, or not really the Bronx, but
mm,
it's interesting, it's London. I mean,
yeah,
London's just one city, just like Manhattan's, a city unto its own.
yeah,
When
yeah,
people think of New York City, it's Manhattan. Although when you fly in, you have to fly in either into Newark or JFK, which is out in Queens. So, but no, I just.
yeah.
Oh, and then you have the beautiful countrysides that just
Oh
phenomenal.
yeah, yeah. I mean, some of the countryside
Oh,
here
it's
is
just
is
gorgeous.
phenomenal. I
I've
love
never
it.
seen anything like it.
Yeah,
Um,
but I do like going up to the moors and going down to the beaches.
yeah, the
And
Dales, Yorkshire, man,
Skip,
yes.
thank you. Wow, that's thank you very much. That's very kind. Wow, that was not expected. Thank you. Wow. Yeah, yeah. It surprised. Pardon me. It surprises me every time I get help from people. Um,
I think
that's
you
very
deserve
kind.
it because of all the good work that you do.
Mm. What I'm trying to do with this channel, um, when I first started it with the bike, it was basically just me documenting things and um, trying to um, understand how things work, trying to push my understanding of things. Um, and when it came to Pinky, um, and then getting the frame powder
Hmm.
coated, because I didn't even know that was going to happen. I had no idea that was going to happen. It was just the off chance that I met the chap who did it for me. Um, Even though the people who worked on it didn't really know what they were doing and kind of made a mess of it. Even though if you looked at it, you wouldn't see it, but I know these issues are there. Um, when it came to the Cortina, um, and I was very emotional about that car even before I bought it.
Hmm.
And
Hmm. Hmm.
um, I remember speaking to Pete over the phone, and he said at one point, I think it was the Christmas before I bought it, so the September 2020, and it was the Christmas before that. And he said,
Okay.
"Look, it's got to go. I can't keep it." And I got
Mm,
really emotional on the phone. And at the time, he was still with Dawn, and
mm,
I knew that I'd applied for this PPI claim. It was personal payment insurance uh, that the banks did years ago, and they got more money out of us than you can imagine.
mm,
And we could claim it back. So that money was being processed, and it took months, absolutely months. And I did say to him that, look, I really want this car. Um, and I was working, doing the car delivery work, saving up all this money. And then all of a sudden, the money's gone. It needed to go elsewhere. I had no choice in that matter. And then the PPI came through, and it was enough to buy the car. Um,
Mm.
so first thing I did is I rang Pete, and I said, look, I've got the money. I want to put half of it down. So he gave me the bank details, and I put half the money down. Um, and when I went to go and collect the car, because it had already been decided we're going to take it to Christina's house, and Christina has a Mark III Cortina. She's a lovely young girl. She's very, very tall, and she's just really, really nice person. And we got the car over there. And that's when the very first video that I filmed of TC. But when I went to go and pay for the car, I turned up at Pete's, and I literally burst into tears when I saw the car. And I just couldn't get my head around it. But at the same time, it had only been 3 weeks since Breeze had passed away. My
Uh,
previous my previous
right.
previous cat. So everything was kind of all up in the air, and I was very emotional.
Mm.
But it was something that I will never forget, getting that
Mm.
car. But
Oh, absolutely.
the daunting side of that was when I got all the interior out, and I looked at the floor, and I just thought to myself, "Oh shit!"
How am I going? Oh, this needs
Yeah,
more work. I was watching All Things Alex,
yes,
and I subscribed to him because of from Rick and Agatha.
mm.
He's another excellent channel, and I like Alex too. He's now working on a 1960 Morris Minor, and he
Oh yeah,
just
yeah.
got the engine running.
Oh wow, I
And
haven't. I
yes, you'll
I
have to
saw
check
the
it
first.
out. I watched it earlier. See, you're 5 hours
Okay.
ahead of me.
Oh, I
So
watched the first video of the Austin Morris Minor, and I will
yeah, he
have to
just
catch
did.
up.
I'm not going to give it away. There's a lot of welding that needs to be
Thank you.
done. It's quite holy, shall we say?
Yeah,
Holy
yeah.
that, but but if anybody can do it, I think he can.
Oh
I
yeah, I'd
really,
say you can.
yeah.
From what I've
I
seen of
mean,
his abilities. Yeah.
yes. Well, he had someone gave him a quote for the
Mm.
welding that needs to be done. So I'm gonna leave it there. Watch Alex,
Yeah.
all things
If I,
Alex. Watch his channel.
I
Uh,
will, I will. Anyone out there
no,
find?
no. I'm not gonna give it away. I watched it earlier today. And uh, so he has his work cut out. But I think you could do it, and I try to be encouraging.
Yeah,
That's just part and parcel of who I am. Uh,
yeah.
some
There's
constructive criticism, but I want to be positive because there's too much negativity in the world today,
yeah,
and
there's a
so
lot of negativity.
I always try to be encouraging, positive, and contribute if and when I
Mm.
can.
Yes, yeah.
So
I think the Morris, not Morris, the Allegro, going away
yes,
from the Cortina, the
right.
Allegro at the moment has become quite a popular and sought after vehicle. It was heavily derided back in the day, and I don't know if you've ever seen
Right.
any of the documentaries
And
about the Allegro.
that was never imported to the U.S.
No.
You- the Morris Marina was
Oh,
like it was. If
I
you
never
go
knew
on,
that.
I think I've gone on Google and typed in Morris Marina, and if you or try to look for information about that,
Yeah,
um, in the 70s, like around maybe 75, 76.
there is a
Um,
British website called AR Online, and they're
mhm,
full of information. If you're ever interested,
right.
AR Online.
And I remember when the Rover 3500, the SD1,
Mm,
when that came out. And of course, that wasn't successful because British Leyland.
build quality.
So, it
Mm,
was atrocious.
yeah,
And so they are very rare.
Mm. I do remember as a
And
child
some of them,
trying into one of those.
I think some of them were also imported back to the UK. It was
Um,
see at the time we those it had to have seal beam headlamps, so it lost that sort of Ferrari Daytona-esque front
yes,
fascia.
very much so. Yeah, yeah,
But because I believe the model that they sold here was a 3500S. It came with air conditioning, power, everything. So,
was that
so
the was that the V8 version that they sent
yes,
to you? Ah,
we only had the V8
because that's originally a Buick lump.
as well as the P6. And like I said, both are so extremely rare. You will see them pop up. If you do a search on YouTube, you will see, or even eBay. They're just
Yeah,
very, 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 very rare. Um,
yeah,
as well as like Renault, was Peugeot,
yeah,
because
yeah.
my aunt had a Peugeot. Oh, I'm going back 40 years ago, over 40 years ago. She had a Peugeot 504 diesel um,
Yes,
estate. Uh, those in Fiat. There was someone I saw. Oh, heading up to Albany. Um, a 128 just rotting in a field. Just like locally, there's the first generation Ford Probe that is rotting away
oh,
in
it's a
a
shame.
like at a bad,
Yeah.
yeah, it
See,
is.
to us,
It
the
is.
Ford, we only got
You
one
know,
one
these
generation of the Probe.
vehicles are so, were so popular over here.
Mm.
You know, the first and
Yeah,
second generation Probe. You don't see a Mazda MX-6 because that, you know,
no,
they share the same platform built in the same assembly plant. When
yeah,
Ford owned controlling interest in Mazda, um, you don't see that.
no, you don't. No, the
And
we
that's
only
why I like
received
watching the UK channels because I'm seeing vehicles that I grew up with. Yes, the right-hand drive, and you drive on the left-hand side of the road, but it doesn't mean anything
that's
to me.
no, no, that's true.
Yeah.
Saying about the probe, we only had about one version of it, and that was the second generation
Oh,
probe. Yeah, we never got the first generation of it. Hey
wow.
Neil, good to see you. Thank you for coming in. We're just having a natter about all sorts, really. Um, yeah, I quite liked the Ford probe. And the unfortunate name, the I think it's the one of the most unfortunate names for a car. A lot of people wanted it as the successor to the Ford Capri,
Capri.
but
Hmm.
it,
And we
I
got those too. They were imported. It's
ah
funny that it wasn't the Ford Capri.
mm,
It was sold through Lincoln Mercury dealerships, which is
okay,
the more upscale of Ford Motor Company division, which is, of course, it's the Mercury's been
yes,
extinct for, I would say, well, almost over 10 years now.
wow, that puts me in the mind of the Merca because that was
The
the Ford
Mercure, right?
Sierra,
Yes,
the Ford Sierra
The
XR4 by 4.
XR4i, and the Scorpio.
Um,
We had the Scorpio.
oh, oh, the bug-eyed
It,
version.
um, uh, maybe it's not the Scorpio. What's the one that was the Granada?
Yes, the Granada.
It wasn't called the Granada.
Yeah, your Granada was different. It was a completely different style.
Right, but the 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 Merc. I thought it was the Scorpio. You know, it's like
Mm,
the Granada, the four door, with the the hatchback. But
yes,
it was more. But I thought they call it the Scorpio. No,
Mystic. The rear end of the. You're thinking of the one with the light bar across the back, the whole back end. That's the one Mystic is talking about. It's really bulbous back end to the Scorpio, and just one light bar all the way across.
it could be
Yeah.
because that Mercury was sold through Lincoln Mercury, trying to be, I think, more like
Um,
the Mercedes, BMW,
possibly.
uh, uh, trying to capture that audience.
Mm, yeah.
And
But
Unfortunately,
Merca, I mean,
they weren't successful. See, you had the Sierra,
yes, yes, the Sierra here lasted a long time. It wasn't very well
right,
received initially because people were so
right,
used to the Cortina shape. Um,
yes.
Honda, Honda 404. I remember the 404 Skik. I haven't seen one for a very long time. I think that's the one with four pipes coming out the header, four pipe header, and all going down one side of the engine, and it looks astonishing. So that's a Honda 404 is a Honda motorcycle.
Oh,
Um, yeah, I do remember seeing pictures of that bike, and it does look amazing. Just don't lean it over too far because you'll end up scraping the pipes on the ground. Um,
yeah.
yeah, it's strange how cars around the world and how the names in different places. I mean, the Volkswagen Rabbit. I always found that a bit odd. As
They
Minnie
said it
points
with
out.
the Rabbit 2.0 they when they did the total redesign of the Golf.
Mm.
They first named it the Rabbit, and of course it didn't sell that well. They were actually I think from 79 until about 83, I think the Volkswagens were built, the Rabbits were built in a plant in Pennsylvania that Volkswagen had
Oh,
uh, had built. And
I thought they were built in
I
Mexico.
don't know what happened. I think 1984 was the last year they built Rabbits at that plant. And of course, from
Okay.
85 on, it became known as the Golf. Now, see,
Yeah.
the Passat was first known as the Dasher, then as the Quantum, and then I think it was in the early 90s that they decided, oh, we'll make the Passat a world car, just like the Escort.
Mm.
The Escort was introduced, I'll never forget this, was introduced in 1981 as the world car.
Yeah. Yeah. A bit like the Mondeo a few years later.
Yes. And a friend of
Um,
mine, her father retired from the Ford manufacturing plant in Mahwah, New Jersey. And she had, and I'm going back, oh, God, it's got to be 40 years now. Um, she bought a Ford Escort and she
mm.
had to put in a new engine because the engine, they like to self-destruct.
Oh,
So, yeah.
that's not
But I
good.
think as time went on, the first engines were not reliable. They had the
Mm.
CVH engine, and then I think later on in the mid '80s, everything turned to fuel injection,
Yes. Yeah.
and then but by this time in the '90s, when you got the redesigned Escort, our Escort, I think, and the Mercury Tracer that were twins were built in Mexico. I
Yeah.
think that the Ford Escort was might have been manufactured in Michigan, but I know they were also manufactured in Mexico. So
I think the first Escort you got was the Mark III to us.
yes,
But yeah, but
it was
there's a
not like I said,
question.
1981. That was the either 19 yeah 81 was when I think they all redesigned that whole new platform.
Yeah. Yeah. It
Um,
was very similar to our Escort, but not quite the same.
and I
Um,
actually like the looks of the UK Escort.
hmm.
It looks cleaner. It looks um, fresh.
Yes.
It doesn't look like
Yeah.
a botched mess. But another thing that carried over from the late 70s until about I think about 84,
Oh,
85 was having the horn on the end of the turn signal. And
yes.
that
Yes.
was very foreign to us Americans. We always
Yeah.
had the horn
TC
in the
has
middle,
that.
just the
Yeah.
right the
TC has the horn on the end of the stalk.
right.
There's a comment there from Double Zero about the American Granada.
Yes,
Wasn't it a
that was
Mercury
another one of the
Monarch?
twin. Yes,
Yeah.
as well as the Lincoln Versailles. Now, the Lincoln Versailles was like a Granada Monarch just tarted up
Mm,
because the Cadillac Seville was selling so well, and that's why
yeah.
they had to bring that out, and that didn't do well. I think um, after was it 1982 or 1983? This is when they brought back the Lincoln Continental name on the Fox
Mm.
platform, which I think is similar to. Um, oh no, I'm getting confused. Anyway,
Yeah, there's a lot of
it's a long
history.
history. Yes,
Yeah, it's a lot
um,
of history.
but I like that's why in the UK you have Citroen and Peugeot, and they all pulled out of our market. The same with Fiat.
Yeah, yeah. One thing I was going to say about the Renault, over here we had the Renault 5, and over
Yes,
to you it's called Car.
it was initially called the Renault 5. And then I don't know why they changed it to Le Car, but they did. I think it's, advertising brand. It wasn't
It
selling
could have been.
well.
Yeah, yeah, it could have been just to get a bit of French flair, in the public consciousness maybe.
It
But
could be.
they've
And then
got
after, I think in the early 80s, that's when Renault um, brought controlling interests of AMC.
mm,
And that's how they started selling Renault through AMC dealers.
oh, that was right. Yes.
And that's where you got
There is
the Alliance and the what's the other the not the Encore. Yeah, maybe it was the Encore,
mm,
but I forget what they're called over there. I'd have to look up. I'd have to
um
look up what the Alliance was.
yeah. Have you seen a channel called Big Car?
No,
If you tap in Big Car, it's a British guy living in the States, and he makes videos, I think, every single week about a story about a certain car itself or a certain brand, and it's goes heavily into detail, and he's very good at what he does. It's a little bit like Twin Cam, but
right.
a bit more. Um, but Big Car is definitely worth looking at if you're looking at.
There's another channel that does that's how I got my interest in the Triumph Stag because this one gentleman did the whole history about the Triumph Stag and the engine, which I found interesting because the Triumph developed the V8 to be also used as a four-cylinder, and that
Yes.
half of that V8 was used for the Triumph TR7.
Yeah,
And
TR7
right,
was initially sold in the States. They wanted to
right.
get a convertible in, but they didn't have time, so they had to send out a hard top, and it didn't get received very well.
No, it didn't, and it's such a shame because I remember by the time the TR8 came over here, that was the end of British Leyland per se.
Yeah, yeah. I've posted the link to Big Car's channel. Is the link still there? Have you found it?
Oh, I'll look at it later.
Ah, okay.
Because with I'm
Oh yeah, it's in the. What I'll do is
is
I'll
it
make sure that the chat stays up, because
okay?
sometimes YouTube does not like it if if you end the stream and you need to click on certain thing, or it's a bit weird. Um, yeah, I've put the link in there. If anyone hasn't gone to Big Car yet, check it out. It's worth a look. Hey, Colin. Oh, good to see you. Feel free to click on the link if you want. You're more than welcome to jump up. Um, I was playing with the Rover yesterday, Colin. I cleaned out the EGR valve and it was disgusting. I need to get the whole inlet manifold off, and that is going to be gross as well. I didn't film any of it. I knew I'd get filthy, and it was so cold today.
Now is the inlet manifold, is that plastic or no?
Yes, it is. So I've got to be
It
very
is.
careful on doing it.
Yes,
I
because they will. Well, it's over 20 years old, so they have a tendency to break
There we go. Yeah, and
or
I don't
crack,
want to
I should
break it.
say. Yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
crack. There's more chance of it cracking. But because the bolts go into brass fittings on some of it, you've got to be
Okay.
careful you don't pull the brass fitting out of the plastic when you're tightening things back up again. Um, yeah, it is a grim job, Robson. Colin, sorry. Um, yeah, it's filthy. I had to basically wash it out with gasoline, petrol. And because I couldn't get all of it off properly, I went and bought a can of carburetor cleaner, and that stuff works wonders. So spraying it all down with carburetor cleaner, it really does break down all the carbon deposits. And yeah, it just makes a mess, absolute mess. But one useful thing is I could wash it down into the garden and it just sink into the ground. Thank you for coming, Double. Very kind of you to join. I'll catch up with you in the next video. But yeah, I need time. One thing I was actually going to ask Colin, what are the chances that I need to replace the gaskets when I take off the inlet manifold? Because I've seen them off for sale on eBay. I'm not overly sure if I would absolutely need to replace the gaskets. But yeah, hopefully I can do that. And I do want to get a blanking plate. Oh, Colin, you will laugh. I made a blanking plate and I was going to cover up the wrong hole by mistake. Good thing I didn't. It's the round bit you got to cover up, not the rectangular bit. 20 years old. Red ones, I do them probably 20 years old. Yeah, you could say that again. Easier than an Essex girl. Yeah. Is that with the lights on or the lights off? Yeah. No, I took the car for a drive today and yesterday, and it seems to be a little bit more responsive, and the fuel gauge isn't moving down quite so much. Even just cleaning the EGR itself. So, it must be doing something right. But no, there's so much to do this year. There's so much going on, so much I want to do. And I need to. There was an event recently at Amber. I don't know if you watch her channel.
Yes, I saw that.
Young lady Amber. I
Yes.
wanted to go. Yeah, I wanted to go to that, but I couldn't because I was working, and it was so frustrating. I only heard like 2 days before, and it's like, give me more notice. So yeah. Colin's making me laugh. Yeah, I really wish I could have gone to that, but as Joseph, he wouldn't have filmed my car because it's powered by diesel.
That's right. We don't
Yeah,
do diesels on this channel, and
no.
I agree with them. I say, a lot of the deep well sea, the prices for petrol and diesel are 3 times more than here in the U.S.
And Europe.
Although,
Yeah.
and you go by per liter,
Yeah, we do.
and it takes about, I think it's 3.5 liters to make up 1 U.S. gallon.
Yeah,
So if you do the math, and I've done the
yeah,
math,
yeah. It's
so
not cheap.
it is expensive. But then again, yeah, well, we're not going to go into what's going on in the UK. I've been watching what's
Yeah.
going on. So
Chris, I hope it's not too bad for you. And when you get to the NEC, you can have a nice drink and, you can relax.
that should be that. I'll definitely be watching out for that, Simone. That should be
Well,
very, very interesting.
I need to get some memory cards for my GoPro because that thing is going to be busy. um,
Yes.
I'm going to try my damnedest to have at least one day to myself where I'm not really run off my feet. I know that Saturday and Sunday is going to be
It's going to be
horrendous.
busy. Very.
Very. Friday is a press day, so it's just the press come in and take pictures of cars and such.
Oh, interesting.
So what happens is I turn up on a Thursday, park up. Thank you for coming, Dirt Rider. It's good to see you, my friend. Oh, nice. Snowmobile. Have fun. yeah, turn up on the Thursday. I've been given time to turn up, but I was told that nobody ever adheres to that, and locations to go to. And that's where I kind of get really nervous, because when you're told you need to turn up at a certain location, you've never been there before. You know, you've got to be at a certain door at a certain time. And so, yeah, I'm getting quite nervous about that. The push bike, you've probably seen that bicycle video, but
I have.
because the land up there is so flat, I can just cycle easily to the hotel.
That's great because if I rode a bicycle, they'd have to peel me off the floor.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
tried.
I mean, one time, well, it was a single speed um, bicycle
Oh,
going up a
yeah,
hill when I was living out in Freehold. Oh, I thought it was good. Well, I only ride a bike during the summer, and
yeah,
it was
single
just
speed is not good. Yeah, but this,
no. But there's
yeah,
someone here locally who has an e-bike, and I said that's what I want. I want an
yeah,
e-bike,
just don't,
and I know
just,
they're very popular out in Europe as well.
yeah, they're popular
They're
everywhere.
big,
Just hopefully they don't
right?
set fire.
Oh, don't say
Because,
that. You know,
oh,
I've seen the
yeah.
pictures of the Chevrolet Bolts going up in flames,
Oh, I
completely
heard about the
melted.
recall. Yeah, I heard about the recall.
Right. Well,
Um,
the new battery, I think, um, is better than the one that it's replacing. And I see more Teslas, Model S,
mm,
Model 3s, and some of the like the Model X and Y, which is
okay,
the SUVs. I see them
right.
all over the place. And
Wow.
they're not cheap. They're not
No,
cheap
they're
at
not.
all.
No, I think
No.
most people probably get those on a higher purchase. Um, but no, I
Oh,
tried to ride
yeah, but
my
I think you're
bicycle.
right.
Yeah, I saying about the bicycle. I tried to ride mine around here. It's
Mm-hmm.
too hilly. I can't do it. It's only got 6 gears, and I can't ride it
Uh,
around here. I can ride it down the street and then back again. And that's it around here. But up in Birmingham, I can ride it to the NEC, to the hotel, and back again. And I don't have to worry about a bus. I don't have to worry about a taxi. The only thing I do have to worry about is my luggage.
mm, mm.
So yeah, I'm going to take a backpack. I'm not going to take a big briefcase. I'm going to take a backpack, um, a big backpack, so I don't have to worry then. But if I'm carrying car parts, that might be interesting.
It will be. So I'll stay
Yeah,
tuned. I can't wait for you to
yeah, I can't. I'm
well,
thinking,
right.
I am kind of thinking, should I bolt the GoPro to the bicycle when I'm cycling to the hotel or back, and then see what cars I pick up on the way?
That's a great idea. That's a
That could
nice
be,
idea. I like that.
yeah. But I'll take the laptop with me so that I can
Of course. Yeah.
offload data while I'm at the NEC.
Yeah, that's
Um,
another great idea too.
yeah, Colin. Most of them are, hang on. Most of them as work cars via lease scheme, tax free, like the old company car schemes, and zero mileage limitations. Was to tr- was to try and get people off for 4x4 pickups as company van schemes. Ah, thank you, Dirt Rider. Thumbs up, guys. um, yes, Chris. Oh, yeah, had one job. There we go. That one. Um, Before 8 in the morning or 8 in the evening,
Uh,
because
I
I
think
was
eight in
told a
the
little
evening
differently.
because remember they
Yeah.
got there, it was dark.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
And
Um,
they were lucky to get in, and they actually they had to, I think, if I remember correctly, they had to switch spots because
that was it.
uh
Yeah,
right, because
they were in the wrong
Chris was supposed to be
places.
on the outside and Pete was on the outside
Yeah, yeah.
with
Um,
Bramble.
that's right. Um, I we were talking earlier, Chris. We're not sure if he's taken Papa or not. Do you know if he's taken Papa? My guess is he might, and that's not even confirmed. Um, where is it, Paul? Um, okay, so I need to my arrival time. I need to be there um, between 11 and 12 a.m. So that's basically midday. Um, I believe that would be. Oh yeah, Chris, it's Hall 4, if you need to know. stand 4-755. And we are just inside the door apparently. And I've got the details to print off my pass to put in the window of the car. So yeah, I've got a lot to do to get ready. There is a concern I have with the tires that I put on that car. When I bought them, they were part worn tires when I was welding the car. Now since then they've developed cracks, which is not favourable. And I'm trying to think to myself, should I replace the 2 rear tires because they're pretty important, and just keep an eye on the fronts? So I don't know. I'll have to see. I mean, because I'm back at work now with the car delivery. I'm hoping to get quite a few shifts in before the NEC actually starts proper. So fingers crossed I can get some money and then get some new tires.
Oh, fingers crossed, yes.
Yeah, I could do some. New rubber is always good. Always
Oh,
good.
absolutely, yes.
Yeah, the tires I put on the Rover, they were really good.
What I did with someone that I know, he has a Honda CRV in 2019. What we did was we ordered Nokian tires over. It's called here in the United States. It's called TireRack.com, and I was going to say they sort of offered the best price versus anywhere else for the price of tires, and the good combination of all-weather traction, especially well snow. What little we've had so far, I think most of the snow has melted, and we're supposed to get, I think, rain tomorrow. We haven't really had it. Well, no, it was cold last week. It did get down to about 10 to 12 below overnight.
We had
Fahrenheit. It was very cold.
Yes. Up near London, a chap I know called Mick, he said he had -10 Celsius where he was.
Right.
And last few nights has been very frosty, and I got to the car this morning.
Yeah, I've been watching that too.
Yeah, the windshield
I've been watching
frozen.
either the BBC weather or the Met Office, or more YouTube channels.
Yeah.
So I've been paying attention to what's going on weather-wise in the UK as well. But I know that they were saying like up where Ali is up north in Scotland, it's warmer up there than it is farther down south, like London, Southampton. Yes,
that's crazy.
But you know, it's usually, if I go up, I'm not too far from the Catskills, maybe 10 or 20 minutes away, and it's very rare, but it did happen in the last month or so that we were going up and we went through fog, because the going up to Wyndham was foggy, but it was warm as soon as you went up. The sun was shining up in the Catskills, but where I live in the valley, it was completely covered in fog and clouds, and so they were warmer than we were down.
Hi.
Yeah.
Oh God, Minnie, that's awful.
Good evening, Tom.
Isn't that Gary Gliss's mantra? Oh my God, what a character! What a mess. Evening, Tommy. Good to see you. Hi, Jimmy. God, people are coming in again. I think I had a maximum of 22 in, but I really don't mind. Hit that thumbs up button, guys, please.
Yes, and if anyone wants to jump, like and subscribe.
Yeah, if anyone wants to jump in, the link is at the top of the list if you want to jump in and have a chat. I've not got any plans to jump off the stream just yet. So yeah, I might go and make a tea in a moment, but
I was going to say I was a little hesitant, but then I said, you know what? I'm gonna join your chat. I'm gonna chat with you. Well, all the way on the other side of the pond.
Planet. Yeah.
The pond.
Yes. Yeah. It's a big pond. Yeah.
It is very big. It's huge.
Yeah.
One of these
Jeez.
days I'll be able to. One of these days I'll bite the bullet. As much as I hate
Yeah.
flying, I'll come over. I'll come over to the UK. I want to.
I've never flown.
Oh, I
I've
have. I
never
dislike
flown.
it. I hate it. I don't
Uh,
like it at all. I'd have to see. I'm usually I had to wear glasses, and I don't have my glasses on, Simone, because I'm very nearsighted. So,
uh,
because I'm on my phone, and it's the only way for me to see.
I
If at
see.
distance I can't see, that's what I need my glasses for. But to read or anything up close, I have to take them off because I can't see.
Uh, well, my eyes, they're both kind of polar opposites of each other. Because this
Right.
one, I was working on the little Yamaha many years ago, and I was taking off the oil mixer bottle, and I pulled the tube off the carburetor, and as it pulled back, it squirted in that eye, and I couldn't see a thing. So ended up to the nearest eye hospital, um, or eye infirmary as it was called at the time,
Right.
and
Hmm.
they washed out my eye, and then they gave me a test, and they said, "You've got astigmatism." It's like, oh, thank you.
Right.
So the lens in my eye is shaped like a rugby ball, but with a twist. So that's it's a if I look through that eye, everything's got a shadow that's bent. It's very weird.
Interesting. Oh, wow.
Yeah, so this lens is a very corrective one, and this one is like hardly anything. So,
Mm.
um, but yeah, they're quite expensive, and I had to get them done because I was working and I was looking at a clock on the other side of the room, and I couldn't read it. It was just a blur. So
Mm.
yeah, that's why yeah, no one ever really sees me without my glasses on. But no, I definitely need them for driving, definitely.
Mm.
But they won't give me any tinted ones. I need to get the clips. Yes, Tommy. I was talking to Hubnut earlier, um, and hopefully, one thing I was going to say. Bear with me a moment, Frederick. At the NEC, I'm kind of hoping that Hubnut comes and has a look at the car. I'm hoping that Furious Driving comes and looks at the car,
Mm.
and whoever else. I mean, I don't know. I keep forgetting her name. There's a lady. Um, I drive a classic.
Oh,
Um,
Steph.
yeah, Steph. She may come over and
Stephanie.
have a look
Right.
at the car.
Yes. Hmm. Right.
And Joseph will be there as well from, so I think the car is going to get a lot of publicity, as is, of course, Pete's car, you know. So yeah, Tommy, yeah, I think TC is going to get a bit more famous. Um,
Well, deservedly.
yeah, I really want to get the back end done, and I've got to admit to everyone here who's watched the videos of me doing the welding and everything and the mechanical work on the car, I regret not having time to weld the back end, um, because it's so frustrating being in a situation where I don't have a welder, I don't have the
Mm.
space to get it done, and um, you know, if I could have done it up there, I would have done, and it just worked out that way. Yes, Robson, my back end needs work. um, have you, Colin? Have you seen how bad the back end of the Cortina is? You'd be shocked if you did. Um, video number 2 of the Adventures of TC will show you how bad it is. But nothing's fallen off, so it's all right. It's okay. Um, but one thing I may have to do is do some pop rivets in the back end and just get a bit more strength. Yeah, yeah, this is true, Colin. Yeah, yeah, 70% rust. Yeah, most of it's at the back. Yeah, I need to get quite a few bits done. I think I'm going to need a new exhaust at some point, or back end anyway. One thing I do want to do is get the interior out again at some point and get the carpet up and have a look at the welding that I've done, even though it's painted. See how much, if it's flaked, see if the paint's coming up, if the rust is coming through. I need to get a wire wheel on all the wheel arches, clean it all up. If there are any holes, weld them. And
Mm.
there is a channel called Goldschmidt Restorations. He's a German lad. He's in his early 20s, and he's restoring a two-door TC. I can't remember the Cortina over in Germany. What was it called?
Taunus, the
Taunus.
Taunus.
That's it. It's a two-door Taunus, and he was restoring that. And yeah, really young lad, and he'd never done anything before. So I did try to share his channel out a lot and get him some more subscribers, but he's gone back to studying. So at the moment, he's not doing anything to the car. But the work he did was brilliant. And you know, he gave me food for thought. And I put him in touch with like Pete's channel, and what I try and do is if I see a Cortina video or even a Taurus video that someone's learning, someone's trying to better themselves or better their skills, I will try and share that as much as I can. You know, because the guy's young, he needs as much advice as he can. I'm still new to this, even though
Right.
I've had the car for just over 2 years. I'm still new to it, and I'm still learning. And it's still a lot of it still daunts me. I have to admit that. And when something goes wrong with the car, if it won't start, if the engine won't run smoothly enough, it it does. It kind of gets to me a bit, thinking, can I fix that? Can I do that? And then I look back on, say, like when I did all the interior, when I welded the seat mounts, and
Right.
it's like that was a massive, massive thing for me to build, to create that floor repair.
Oh
And
yes, and I
yeah,
remember you
thinking,
doing that some of the work, especially on the driver's side. Welding.
absolutely, yeah. So it does go to show that like
That's why I
um
applaud your hard work and effort. I mean, it's incredible
mm,
what you've done and
yeah,
continue to
thank
do,
you.
I should say.
Well, at the moment there's not much going on, because it's cold.
Well, no, it's yeah. Well, granted, I mean, we're in the middle of winter, and
Yeah, yeah. If you haven't got a
and
workshop, there's not much you can do.
no, no,
But
no.
I do find kind of like say somebody mentioned him earlier on, um, young chap, something Rust, um, Puddin. No, it's Puddin's Fab Shop. I think he's in somewhere in the country where it's fairly warm all year round, and that's just lucky, really, having a shop
Hmm.
somewhere like that. Um, yeah, and mine, Colin. Yeah. Um,
Another
yes.
channel you recommended. He's been doing working on a Vauxhall Viva. Viva.
Yes.
I've been
Yeah.
watching him
Yeah.
for a while.
I like the old British Vauxhalls. Um, Even though they rusted just as badly as the Fords, some of their styling was so
Hmm.
good, and it's just the character, the HC Viva.
Right.
I like the design of it. Um, it's a good looking car, and I would have one.
I,
Um,
I was going to say that I found out from through YouTube that the Vauxhall Viva was imported to Canada.
really?
Yes, in the early
My word.
70s. Yes, because there's someone up in Canada who has one. I think it's a blue two-door or four-door. I'm not sure. It looks different because just like Opel Mantas that were the 1900 that was imported from
Hmm.
Germany to this country, um, it had to have head restraints
Okay.
on the front seats. And I look at your British vehicles and I'm saying to myself, it's 1975 and you have no headrest. This
Yeah.
is insane because uh, the federal requirements for that started with the 1969 model year. Seatbelts became
Wow.
mandatory. I mean, just lap belts became
Yeah.
mandatory front and rear in 1960 for this 1966 model year.
Yeah.
They were optional prior to that. Um, I'm trying to. Oh, shoulder belts were mandated for the 1968 model year.
Wow.
So I'm looking, and we've had unleaded fuel since 1975. It was mandated for the I think the Clean Air Act.
Yeah, I remember reading
So
about that. Yeah,
right.
but I can't remember because I was very young. But when I was young, I do remember my brother going to buy 4-star fuel and 3-star fuel, and then there was all this talk about unleaded. But I can't remember the year that happened because I was
I
still a
think
kid.
it was I think it was I think it was the mid 80s if I
Oh,
remember correctly because people have had that discussion or
yeah.
the cat or was it the 90s?
Personally, I think it may have been the early 90s.
Because Joseph would know.
He
Joseph
definitely would.
Lloyd
Yes.
has such I really admire him with all the font. He's such a font of information. Um, he he knows his facts like
He does.
I mean for cars for the British market, and I highly applaud his
Oh,
efforts.
I do. I mean, I see some of the cars he's talked about, and it's like, how do you know
Oh,
this
absolutely.
information?
Mm-hmm.
You know? Skick, I was going to say, I don't fully know, but there is a place near me where I can take the car, and if I want to work on it, it's £10 an hour, and if I want to store the car there, it was well, last time I looked, it was I think it was £100 a month, but that was like a year or two ago. Um, if you were to hire a separate unit with all the power and everything, I think it would be a much more than that. But don't quote me. Prices do fluctuate and they do vary depending on where you live in the country as well. Colin's got it right there. Unleaded was launched in the UK in 1986. See,
I thought
I
so.
didn't know that.
I thought so.
So engines back then, they would have been hardened. The seats would have been hardened, the valves. Um, so anything from 86 onwards. So,
Because they were, if if I
mm,
remember correctly from all this information that I've been gathering from UK channels, is the Austin A series engine they had to modify because um, it wasn't designed for unleaded fuel.
yes, that's true. Yeah. Chris has just said base model Fiestas had no headrests until 86.
And it's funny
Um,
because we got the Ford Fiesta in about the first gen. Oh, yeah, the first gen was about
mm.
1977, I think.
The car was launched here in 70. Oh, God, it's 76 or 77. It was an S plate. Yeah, S plate was 76. And the year I was born. I'm pretty sure it was launched in 76.
Yeah, it was, and they were imported from Germany up until
Mm,
1980, and then
mm.
from 1981 started the Escort. We didn't have the Fiesta after that until
Oh,
I would say maybe about 10 years ago.
wow.
They've Yes, for a very long time.
Wow,
I was going
blimey.
to say we got the Ford Focus in 2000 because my aunt got the
Mm,
estate version.
yeah.
Um, and I think it was only a few years ago that they discontinued all of them, the Focus, the
Mm.
Fiesta.
Yeah, it's a shame. It really is.
I heard about the Mondeo, um, which for us was the Fusion,
Oh,
and
okay.
before
Chris
that
got
was
it
the
right.
Contour.
Mm.
Yeah,
76 cars were our registration because over here it goes alphabetically. What it did.
right.
Um, yeah, my first Fiesta was a white 1.1 Popular Plus that had headrests, but I think the seats were taken from a different car.
Interesting.
Mm.
Yes.
Leaded was fully withdrawn in 1999 and in the EU in 2000. Colin was a supervisor
I
at a petrol
think
station.
I
Ah,
think for in our especially where I live in New York State, upstate, I think it was coming leaded fuel was coming to an end in I think the late 80s. I don't
mm,
remember the exact year that it was
very interesting
discontinued,
stuff.
but
Yeah.
another thing that you're having a big discussion with you over there is E10 and E10 fuel, ethanol, 10% ethanol has been, in our country for, I would
Yes.
say, at least 15 years, if not longer.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
it's all due down to emissions,
Mm.
to
Skip.
climate change with them.
You'd be looking at thousands for me to hire something like that. Absolutely thousands. I wouldn't know the exact amount, but you're talking a lot of money.
Mm.
That's if I could find one in the local area. Specific, yeah. I don't think I could find something around here that's within my price bracket at all. I'd need like a loan or something, or a business, running a business, or fully employed, which would be nice, but
Mm.
yeah, these things, doesn't always come easy. No, it's very interesting talking about um, cars and fuel and stuff. Very interesting. Has anybody else in the comment section got any questions they'd like to ask about the fleet channel? Colin, don't forget we have E1095 RON, as the US has E1094 RON. Also starts 91 and bumped up with ethanol.
Mm.
What would be in 99 then, Colin? Because I've seen 99 at the pumps.
Oh, that's another thing. Your octane versus our octane ratings are totally different.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know why or how.
It's
Yeah,
just the way of the world. I don't know.
yeah.
It's
I know nothing of chemical stuff. I don't know.
neither do I. I think in our country we only have I think 3 or 4 refineries, California, and that's specific the formulation for California because they're so much more stricter than a federal government rules and regulations. They have
Mm,
refineries there. Houston refines gas.
mm,
Once prices spike when the fuel mixtures, winter and summer fuels are
mm.
chemically different, so they have to. I think within the next month or so, we're going to the refineries will shut down
Yeah.
to switch to summer blends. That's the word I'm looking for. So
I What was I going to say? Oh no, I was going to say about fuel, but it's just gone out of my head. Trapped.
you mean octane
Oh
ratings?
no, no,
No,
it was
okay.
I'd heard that somebody said to me the prices for fuel in the UK are going to go back up again by 13%.
I heard that too. I think I don't. I think they're raising the tax
Mm.
for fuel,
Yeah, tax
the fuel
duty, I
tax.
think it's called.
Hmm.
Yeah. Comically, 91 RON in the US is about the same as 97 RON in the UK. It's a
Ah,
mixture rating of
interesting.
the RON and the
Because
market
that
ratings in the
91
US.
octane for us is a mid range.
Mm.
94 is premium, and 89, 80. I think the lowest octane um, rating we have is 87, but
Yeah.
most of the fuels are 89. And um, we do have some gas stations like there's one called Stewart's. It's strictly New York State that they
Mm.
sell premium unleaded without any ethanol whatsoever.
Wow, I wish we could still get that because
Yeah,
Mini
I
was
know
just
you. The base
80K.
minimum I heard is E5
I think,
in the UK.
yeah, from what I heard a while ago, don't quote me, and I couldn't even tell you where it's from anyway. Apparently, somebody over here can get ethanol-free fuel. But I was thinking exactly like Minnie's just said about synthetic fuels coming out into the market. I wonder, Colin, if you've been looking into this, how would synthetic fuels affect the Rover diesels, especially the 75, because it's different on the 75 than it is on the 45s and 25s. If the synthetic fuels are any good and how the cars would react, how they're, if they wouldn't even react at all, if they're just drive exactly the same. So yeah, it's definitely a topic for discussion.
Mm.
Synthetic, I think, is an idea. It takes us away from fossil fuels and still be able to use our combustion cars.
But I'm thinking, would there be some petroleum in synthetic fuels?
Very
I mean, we
possible.
have synthetic oils. Synthetic oils have been around for
Yeah,
almost close to 50 years now.
yeah, I used synthetic oils in my Kawasaki, fully synthetic oil in the engine.
Oh, and they're
Um,
excellent. And
yeah, brilliant stuff.
the right the because I remember when Mobile One came out, I think it was 1976, that engines were using synthetics were cleaner
Wow.
versus regular, yeah, using regular
Yeah,
oils. Hmm.
that's impressive.
Mm.
Porsche, yes, Porsche looking into it as well. So, if that
VW,
can, yeah, if that
AMG.
can, Porsche and VW, if that can actually happen, that will save a lot of our internal combustion engines from going to the scrap heap. And they've brought in over here the scrappage scheme. I don't know if they have
I
anything like that
heard
in the
about
States.
that, and that's another debate going on with the London ULEZ, expanding the
Yeah,
ULEZ zone. Like you said, the scrappage scheme,
yeah,
what that's going to entail, because there's a big debate
yeah.
about that going
The
ongoing
the
right now.
yeah, the amount of cars, if this scrappage scheme goes
Well,
ahead,
that's
the amount
why
of
Ian got the Daihatsu Syrian.
yes, he did. Yeah,
Because
he got it for free.
it was one of those vehicles that was forbidden, now forbidden in London.
Mm,
I,
it's things.
that's very sad.
Yeah, they
But
don't look at what
I
you're.
think that's granted. I think there has to be a happy medium between what's good for the climate versus
Mm,
people who and that car is very low mileage. I mean, I think it's below 30,000 miles.
yeah, it's not done much
Or
at all.
below, at least I think it
Mm,
is below 35. I'm not sure. I
it's
don't remember off the top of my head. But
yeah.
uh, people
I
can't
think
people can't afford going on. What's going on in the UK can't afford to go fully electric because
yeah,
even buying a used EV is going to be expensive.
it's horrendously expensive. That's if you can
Right,
find somewhere to
absolutely,
park
I
and
know.
charge.
And but with I don't think another thing is that I think Ian put it into perspective when he had the E500, the
Mm,
500E, the V500E, which I think is beautiful. You don't have the infrastructure. We don't even have the
yeah,
infrastructure here.
yeah.
So I
I
mean,
I
it's good that they're promoting and trying to push people into EVs, but it's not. It's totally it's not affordable even after tax incentives or tax breaks. It's just not it's not economically
No,
feasible.
it's not. It's not. Chris, I think your Cortina is. I'm sure isn't it 40 years old already? Or am I a year out?
Chris's yes, his car is. I would. It's
Is
almost
it?
yeah. It's about close to 50. His Ford Cortina. I think
Yeah, your
Isn't
car
it a
should.
76?
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah, yeah, Chris, your car is not forbidden in London.
No,
Not
no,
at all.
it's exempt. Another one of my channels, what is it called? He's in London and MecTech. MecTech.
Oh, I don't know that
He
one.
drives a London taxi. He has a few other vehicles. He just finished doing a Reliant Robin. Anyway, he he has a few vehicles. I think like a oh, I forget which one. Not the maybe it is the Vauxhall Cavalier. He has a Vauxhall Cavalier.
Uh-huh.
Oh, his Ford Puma.
Oh, yes. Okay. Is that the
And
old style Puma?
right, the Ford Puma. I think
Ah,
it's
yeah.
his first vehicle. I think he bought it new in 2001.
Yeah, yeah, that
And
sounds about
he
right.
said they he was afraid it wasn't going to be ULEZ compliant. Well, through a friend of his, you can get a certificate, and he got a certificate from Ford, and I think it is about the nitrous oxides.
Mm,
It's not about anything else. It's about the night. You'd have to look at his video because he did
yeah.
a video on
Yeah.
that and explained fully that he got a certificate exemption for his Ford Puma, that
Mm,
it is legal for him to use it within that ULEZ zone.
yes. Yeah. It's like when Alex goes into London
Right.
and she
She's
takes
exempt
the Rover.
because her vehicle's over it's 50, almost 60 years old. Mhm.
Yeah, because she does her little trips into London, go and see her
Right.
pet
Hmm.
family, and um,
She isn't exempt from the rush hour,
congestion
the
charge.
congestion
Yeah.
tax, right? Hmm.
One thing I was going to mention, Colin, when you wrote that, it was like there's something I gravitated to when you were talking about this because there's a channel I watched recently. A lot of people will say he's a bit of conspiracy theorist, but a lot of things he says make sense. He's called Jeff Buys Cars. He's a British chap, and he finds out all this information. And he has been looking at this cobalt production, and it's being mined by children in the Democratic Republic of Congo.
Congo. Mm,
Children are getting
right.
cobalt for your batteries in your SUV. And
Mm.
it angers me. It angers me. And I don't know whether to take everything Jeff says truthfully or with a grain of salt. I think you've got to take things like this with a grain of salt because you can't believe everything you
It's
hear, everything you
it's
read.
true, but the uh, the uh, the Congo is one of those. It's those African states that's always the center of strife.
Mm.
It's always in conflict and strife. That's the word, conflict. Yeah.
Blame Greta. How dare you?
uh,
Oh, Colin, she's 18 now.
she was just arrested. They
You're
carted her
kidding
off.
me.
And no, I'm serious. She was at a demonstration. She didn't resist. They carted her away. I saw it because from time to time I'll watch Sky News here on YouTube. Oh. And that popped up on my feed. Yeah.
Wow, I never knew
Just
she'd been
within the
arrested.
last, I
Wow.
would say the last 4 weeks or so, she was arrested.
How
Mm.
dare you?
I mean, she has some good. I mean, her intentions are good. People
Yeah.
say that she's manipulated and whatnot. You know, she's on the she's on that autism spectrum. Um,
I would say that she is. Yeah.
but I not only do I love EV, I'm like Ian Seabrook in respect that I love EVs. I've ridden in Teslas, and I think they're fabulous.
I've only driven
But I
an
also love
electric
classic
car.
cars too.
Yeah.
I like a combination of both. Um, oh, and Ian featured someone that is converting classics to electric
Oh,
vehicles.
yeah, I
Did you
think
watch that? Did you watch that?
was that a few
That
years back?
No, that was just I think within the last. I know it's within the past year or so.
Oh,
Um,
I'll have to look at that.
one of them did it was a, I think he did a EV conversion of, was it a Land Rover or a Volkswagen T5? I forget which.
Oh,
You know what I'm
no,
talking? You know
I
which? Do
think it
you
was a
remember that?
Volkswagen. Yeah, I think it was a Volkswagen bus actually.
Yes, or an older one, like
Yeah, yeah, like a
before
split
the
window.
T5. We called it the Vanagon here in the U.S.
Oh, okay. Hey, Mick.
Uh, so yeah, it's it, the, all the different vehicles that you have over there are totally. I mean, there are some that carry similar names, but there are some that are totally different,
Mm,
like the T5. The last one was the Eurovan. That's the last Volkswagen we got
wow.
fan wise.
Yeah. Would anybody else like to jump up? I need to go and use the facilities. So if anyone else would like to jump up for a moment, that would be very helpful. Somebody, please, because I'll have to leave the room and just leave you sat here.
I have to go too, to be honest with you.
I tell you what, then we'll leave it at that.
Oh, it was
Um,
such a pleasure chatting with you, Simone. This I haven't
yeah.
done this in a very long time, and you know, technology. I embrace technology. I'm old
Mm,
school in a certain sense, but this I can't believe I'm talking to you face to face, even though you're you know,
miles
it
away.
just I just it boggles my mind. Yes, I just turned 59 a few last month, and I embrace technology. I love it, but
Mm,
something like this just absolute. I can't. I really it. I embrace it. I enjoy it, but it also
yeah.
blows my mind because you're thousands of thousands. You're 5 hours ahead of us. You're thousands of miles away, and and you just talking to you. You're almost like next door,
Yeah.
and
It's
that I
crazy.
love. But
Yeah.
I'm so glad that I've discovered your channel. Of course, I
Thank you.
subscribe and keep doing the excellent work that you always been doing. So
Thank you.
I'll
It's
you're
very kind of
welcome,
you.
and I'll try to support you in any way I possibly can.
That's very good of you. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
you
Well,
deserve
thank you.
it. You deserve it, Simone. You're one of the few people that I know just really, besides Alex, really just and Pete, a few others, and Chris.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
And
I'm
Chris
kind of,
that really deserve it. So
yeah. Yeah. Well, there's a lot of us YouTubers here at the moment in this chat, chatting now. So, you know,
yes,
all credit to everyone in here.
yes.
Um, we've
Well,
all
we're
got our
saying
own little niche,
hi
and
and goodbye, you guys. I
yeah,
appreciate. Yeah, it's nice to have a community, the
yeah,
community,
definitely.
and I feel that.
Mm,
So one of these
me
days,
too.
Simone, we'll have to meet in person.
Yeah,
And if
until
and
you get a
have a
vacation
good
to the UK.
yes. Oh,
So,
if my ideal trip would to take the Cunard from New York City,
wow,
make a
yeah,
transatlantic. Well, friends of mine from Scotland did it. They left Southampton with their dog Alfie and did the transatlantic cruise with Cunard, like the QE2 or the Queen Elizabeth, or Queen Mary, one of them. That's the
yeah,
only way I would love to do that. So one of
yeah,
these days.
yeah. I
If
can't do
not,
boats. Yeah,
I'll get the courage somehow to fly. So
I think if I go
uh,
anywhere, I'll end up flying. Anyway, I'm gonna have
thank
to
you,
go.
Simone. I'm gonna let you go. Thank you so much. It
Yeah,
was
no
such
worries.
a
Take care,
pleasure.
everyone. Yeah,
Yes, you
thank you,
too,
Frederick.
Simone. Take
Thank
care,
you.
guys.
See you guys.
Next time.
Bye bye.